Here's part 2 of our episode from August 19th, and this one deals again with your attorney and is he doing or she doing a good job representing you, and what do you have a right to be looking for in the way of how they're handling your case. We ran out of time, unfortunately, for the August 19th episode, part 1. We ran out of time, and we were discussing the attorney not only giving me a letter that asked me to describe my case, which you might call an intake letter. I think that's the term they use it in their communications to me. But how poor a practice I thought that was, because what that means is that the attorney, instead of doing the real legal work, and what that is sitting down with the client and going over the case, and each time the client mentions something that the attorney, it should set off a bell with the attorney saying, that could be a source of revenue, that might be a place to get some money, that might be a chance for us to build up an additional defendant, there might be somebody in there, maybe we can sue the hospital. And not just the maker of this hip. Maybe we can sue the hospital. Maybe we can sue the anesthesiologist. Maybe we can sue the people who marched me around the hospital when I woke up the first day. And believe me, I've got a story there that'll turn your hair blue or gray or something. It would do something to your hair. Since we have a minute, I'll see if I can tell you that story in a minute, and then we'll come back to alternate sources that the attorney should have scoped out when they met with you. And in my case, when I woke up from the surgery, which is always good, when you wake up, that's a good sign. If you wake up, that's the start of good news. You celebrate that. I know a doctor who's an anesthesiologist, and his license plate says, I wake him. Get it? I wake him up. So that's the sign of a successful anesthesiologist. But the point was this. I woke up, and the nice man there says, well, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Come on, let's go for that walk. We have to go walk up and down the hall. I said, I can't. It hurts. He said, no, everybody does it. Come on, it hurts a little, but come on, we're going to go for a walk. You'll be fine. I said, I don't think I can do it. It's going to hurt too much to walk. He made me walk up and down. I should say I made me. He really couldn't make me if I'd stood up for my rights. And I went up and down the hall till finally it hurt too much. I almost cried. And he said, something's very wrong. That shouldn't happen. And I said, I'll agree with that 100%. I'm not going to argue that point. And he said, well, it shouldn't hurt you with that blue pill. And I said, what blue pill are we talking about? He said, the blue pill. He said, everybody gets the blue pill. That's what you got this morning at 6 o'clock. Everybody gets one. You can't go for a walk around the hospital without the blue pill. And I said, nobody gave me a blue pill. He said, well, you have to. You couldn't have walked down the hall without the blue pill. It's impossible. He said, somebody gave you the blue pill. You just don't remember it. I said, I would know. I was waiting for something this morning to go in there, and nobody gave me anything in the way of pills for my pain. And he said, well, something's very wrong. And I didn't wait. I called in the head of the nursing of the staff for that floor. And then I went over her head and got head of nursing for the hospital in there. And there was a big scene. And finally, the last thing was I saw this nurse, and she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I'd seen her going around the hospital. And last I saw, they were taking her out, and she had a set of handcuffs on her. And when later in the day they brought me another blue pill, and I said to the head of nursing, I said, well, it looks to me like that was who was supposed to have given me my pill, and it didn't get to me. And she said, well, I can't say anything, Mr. Fleetwood, but I can tell you that your pill didn't go to waste. So you'll have to figure out the joke there. But anyway, we're getting back here to the topic of the attorney, and with your drugs, et cetera, and your expenses, what should he be able to do? Well, once your attorney has met with you, knows your case, he should, if you have any sort of injury that needs to be demonstrated or that is out of the ordinary, he should have, or she should have, sent you to another doctor, not one that's treating you, but a doctor whose job it is to examine you and write up a nice expert report to the insurance company for Depuy, and this doctor can say, I was not the treating doctor, but I can tell you I have looked at so-and-so's leg, and they are certainly suffering, and I believe they're going to have years and years of damages from the pain that is caused by this wrongful implantation of the hip implant. So that's one of the things that you want to be looking for. If your attorney hasn't sent you to any experts to help draw the case together, to help explain the case, well, what are they doing? And one of the things that you might want to be thinking about now is, has your attorney put together a specials package? It's pretty late in the day. If they haven't done that, the specials package is the one that says, Dear insurance company, here is the extent of the damages of our client. Here's their out-of-pocket expenses. In other words, here's what they paid for their surgery and for their treatment, and many of us have gotten physical therapy. Now remember, we don't want to get confused with that and say, oh no, we didn't pay anything. We're with Kaiser or we're with Blue Cross and it's all free. No, it's not free at all. It's covered by the insurance, but there is still a whole statement that shows all of the treatment we've gotten, and our attorney should have that, and it should be in the many, many thousands of dollars. And your attorney should also have come up with either with his own expertise, which is not worth much, or if he really wanted to impress the other side, he should have had some form of an accountant say, here's the work you do, here's how much time you've lost from work, and here's what your claim for lost wages is worth. And then the two big ones, future lost wages and future pain and suffering. Your attorney should have experts in the field, have reports from them, and have them in your specials package. And that specials package, I believe, should either have already gone over to the other side or should be sitting on the desk waiting for the signal to go, in case this is one of those cases where Johnson & Johnson is saying, well, don't worry, we're not accepting any specials packages because we're not going to settle the case, but we'll let you know as soon as the door is open and you can send us your specials package and we can start talking turkey here. That should already be done. Most important, that, and I think I've said that a lot, but that attorney should show you the specials package, and that attorney should be showing you what does it equal, what do other people get based on similar expenses and losses, and remember, the big thing that the insurance adjuster looks for in that specials package is future pain and suffering. How severe is it? Are you going to be having years of future pain and suffering, or are you going to have no future pain and suffering? Many years of future pain and suffering is worth a tremendous amount of money once you can demonstrate that your claim is legit. Of course, all insurance adjusters, the first thing they do is try and show that your claim is not legit. But you want to try and show that's legit, and therefore you have a very serious high dollar value claim for future pain and suffering. That's one of the things you want to go for. And we mentioned already your future financial losses, whether you're going to be missing work or whether you're just going to be having to pay people to help you, to drive you places, things like that. But your attorney should have gone over all this with you. We are late in the day. The other side is already saying we're getting ready, and there were rumors that all of these cases were supposed to be settled over by July 15th, or I think it was July 31st. These cases were rumored to have been over. So the question is, if your attorney has not met with you, shown you, here's your claim, here's your case, here's the work that we did drawing out the value of it, something's very wrong. I would immediately wonder about how good a job that attorney is doing, but the flip side of that is no attorney is going to let you change right now, and I can't explain why that is. It's very difficult, but if you want to call around right now and make sure you explain to them that these are definitely confidential phone calls, you do not want it going out, because you don't want your own attorney knowing that you're out there looking for another attorney. It causes all sorts of hard feelings and problems, et cetera, et cetera. You have to make sure that whoever you call is not going to tell your attorney, hey, they called me today and they were looking for a new attorney. So that's one of the things that you want to avoid. Along with that, we're the second package of Depuy hip implant cases. They've already gone through the ASR. They've settled all those cases out, and those cases got a nice chunk of money. Maybe not as much as a couple of other lost hip implant cases did, but there was some serious money paid out to the people that got the Depuy ASR. Now, we know how long Depuy has spent saying, oh, no, the Pinnacle's fine, the ASR, that's it, well, you can't compare those, blah, blah, blah. Well, we've heard that, but the truth is that they are now being looked at as being similar, and we want to know why it is that we shouldn't get the same amount of money as the people with the ASR did. And I would want to know that from my attorney. Did you value this? Did you run this through the same kind of flow chart as we would have if we had had the ASR implant litigation? What would I have gotten if my hip was an ASR? I don't know if they can answer, but when would I have been paid, you think? How much quicker? But the part we really want to know is, well, what would I have gotten if this is an ASR, and is there any reason in the world why I should not be looking for that amount of dollars now? And remember, again, you've got that ace in the hole. We talked about this 2 episodes ago. You've got the ace in the hole that says we just had 3 different $500 million and $1 billion verdicts, okay? So, Mr. Adjuster for Depuy, you better come up with an offer that makes me smile and makes me want to settle. Because if you don't, I would rather just spin the dice and see if I can win $100 million, which would be my share of $500 million among 5 people. I'm going to be in that line looking for my $100 million if you don't come up with an offer that makes me want to settle this case. So that's you're in the driver's seat there. You want to do that. And I do pledge that over the next few weeks, as we get more shows in and as I get a couple of guests on the show that we're going to be getting in, I'm looking to get in a couple of attorneys that are handling cases on this show. As we get them in, we're going to be asking them to draw us up what it is that they think our cases should be worth, just based on the average case having the possibility that it's one of the ones that we would have received $100 million for. We'll be getting in guests, and we'll be looking for some attorneys that are handling these cases. I've even spoken to a few of the attorneys that are at the top of the list that have handled the winning 500 million cases, and we're talking about having them be on the show. Yeah, but one of the things that is good is we're going to find out, is your attorney one of those? Is your attorney one of the ones that scored a $500 million verdict, or is your attorney one of the ones who's just sitting on his butt or her butt? So here's the thing. If you like what you've heard today, if you've learned something, please click the thumbs up button down there. Subscribe so that you can get notice of all of the new episodes. And